Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Dear Truth. I'm your host, DR. In this episode, I want to talk about being overwhelmed, right? So right now I find myself in a situation where I'm kind of overwhelmed, to be honest, just to be quite frank. I have a lot of thoughts in my head circling around all at the same time. I have a lot of things that I want to do and a lot of things that I need to get done. And I'm not sure how to organize all of these things all together to be efficient. So I'm working it out through my head, but the more I do it, the more like mentally stressed I become. Even dealing with like old thoughts from the past of things that I wish I could change, that with all the willpower and strength I have in my body, I can't do anything about it to change those things. So, like I said, I love to talk about things as I'm going through it, because that way I could be raw and honest with the audience. You know what I mean? So how do you deal with, being overwhelmed? How do you deal with that type of like energy when you find yourself like almost helpless, don't know what to do with your time, with your energy, and you can't figure your way out of it? Well, I have a quote that I use quite often when I'm in these situations, when I can't think my way out of a situation, when I'm overwhelmed with thoughts, when I'm faced with things that I can't change. This is the time where I tell you, you got to throw your hands up and let somebody else take the wheel. And my favorite quote is, God got me. God got me. In this situation, I'm having to, face what comes my way. And, sometimes, like I said, old thoughts pop up in your head and it's like, man, you think you can go, if you could just go back and change that outcome, it would just make everything all better. Like, it would make you feel better. And, but the truth is, it would make you feel better or not, you can't change it. There's nothing you can do to go back in time and change that event right now. So what do you do in that situation? You got to just chunk it up, roll with the punches. It is what it is. And so even in a situation where you feel overwhelmed, just honestly, it is what it is, right? So like I said, to make myself feel better, and this is what I do, I just realize that, God got me. And what that means is basically, you ever heard the slogan, time heals all? Some people don't believe in that, but if they're in the process of going through something and they don't believe that time heals all, that's because they haven't given it enough time. With time, everything can change. Eventually you forget about the things that happened in the past. Eventually you forget about the problems of today and yesterday. Something comes up and you end up falling in a place of a state of happiness, and you forget about the woes of yesterday and you happy in the moment. But that comes with time. You just got to give it time. Another one of my favorite quotes is, it can't rain all the time. The sun got to shine sometimes. Wow. So if ever you find yourself overwhelmed with thoughts, you feel depressed, stressed out, feel like the world is, falling upon your shoulders, you feel weighed down, life becomes too heavy, you can't think your way out of it no matter what you think about, you want to end it all, want to blow everything up, don't, because that only brings you more turmoil and harms others in the process. So, you don't want to do that. So just give it time. Eventually an opportunity will come. Even if, this lifetime ain't it. You got other lifetimes, I believe. I just don't believe that each soul individual that comes into this lifetime under certain pressures and problems that never get to experience, a full, happy life. I think you get another opportunity. Like as the sun sets and rises, and day and night comes like continuously. I think lives are like that as well too. Just the belief I have. I have no proof of that, but it feels good to believe that, we all get another opportunity in another lifetime at some point in time, right? It's better than thinking the opposite, that this is it, and life has been unfair to some and more fortunate to others. So, long story short, I'm gonna keep this video short. If you're going through something, like I said, just give it time. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how tough it is. I don't care how stressful it is. Just give it time. A brighter day will come. It always does. You know, I've had my hardships and my hard times, like even right now. Like, like I said, I'm dealing with a bunch of thoughts that's rushing and racing in my mind, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm trying to figure out what to do. But I know the closest thing I can do is focus on the moment. I know right now I'm driving this car and making this video. So everything else is in my mind that I'm, thinking about, that is somewhere in the future, that's causing me, a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear, a little worry and concern. It's not happening in the moment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna enjoy my drive. I'm gonna enjoy this sunshine. I'm gonna enjoy making this video, spending time with y'all, talking to y'all, or whoever's out there listening. This is what I'm doing. So I relinquish all my other problems. I'm sitting in this moment, and those other thoughts are just thoughts. They're not here truly, honestly affecting me unless I allow them to, and I refuse to do that. So I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this drive. I got 22 minutes, and yeah. As always, guys, thank you for stopping by, watching this video, whoever you are out there. I appreciate you so much. And as always, I wish you have a blessed day. Seek happiness, seek love, be peaceful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.